NASCAR fans perspective podcast. Basically, I'm just gonna be talking about things in NASCAR that you know, like the new NASCAR 25 game. The Truck Series, Xfinity Series, obviously Cup Series. Um. So gonna start off. Um, I am a fan, obviously, fans perspective. Um, I'm a William Byron fan, so there may be a little glaze here and there, but you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. William Byron has not been performing as well as I think he can this year. Basically saying that some of the races like Darlington, kind of wasn't his fault, and pit strategy. Um, um, let's see, a couple other races recently. The street course, Chicago street course. His clutch goes out first lap. You just can't help that. Um, Charlotte dominated Charlotte. I thought he was gonna win it. I was sitting on the couch, getting excited, you know, and just Ross Chastain, just a Cinderella story, coming from the back. And I'm not saying Ross Chastain's bad. I'm actually kind of a watermelon man myself. You know, have some diecast fizz, but you know, just the way we've lost this season. I think we had a rebound at Sonoma, which finished, I think, eighth. We were running second, and so just need to get better because we started losing the points lead there for a minute. I think we did. I can't remember if he did or did not lose it. Um, but just watched the Truck Series race on FS2. They had a rerun, and watched Lane Riggs win at IRP. So that was kind of I would say a boring race. There was only one incident. Um, so besides Ross Chastain losing a tire on pit road, um, and towards the end of the race, I didn't really pay attention that much. Towards the end of the race, it looked like Ross had like a bunch of damage on the left side, especially on the fender, front fender. So I don't know if that was from the tire or another incident, that one incident, but um, I did watch the Xfinity series, and my gosh, um, Austin Hill should be suspended um, for at least a race, if not fined points, because with the white gloves, I have the steering wheel right here. So basically, he so he's on the outside of Almirola, on the back straightaway, I think it was, and they're he gets nudged, he saves it, and don't get me wrong, it is an amazing save. He like it's like a it's like a quick motion, and then all of a sudden you see him with his white gloves, and it's clear as day. He turns like this and holds it, and he right hooks Almirola, and Almirola goes head on into a non-safer barrier part of the track. So the turns at Indianapolis, the front stretch, back stretch, and any straightaways have um have safer barrier, but it is still concrete on in the turns. Don't know why that is. I guess they want to keep it original. I don't know. Um, but you know, just Almirola. I remember him saying that after the race, that was one of the hardest hits he had ever taken. Um, and it looked hard. That looked about like Bowman at Michigan. That's what it looked like. It was bad. Then Austin Hill gets parked for 5 laps, which praise NASCAR. That was the bare minimum that they could do. and Austin Hill is just cussing them out, saying F NASCAR, you know. I don't know why he's doing that. I mean, he's had some fits over the years, but he knew he did wrong, so there's no point in that fit. Um, and then the Kyle Larson and Justin Allgaier thing. I I think were they coming out of a turn? I think it was. They were coming out of a turn and Larson just nudged him. Well, it looked like Larson had gotten really loose and nudged him, and then Allgaier just runs up the fence, which I could see because I don't think Larson. I remember he at when he was at Bristol with that Xfinity win, he said he was toying with the field. I think is how he put it, and wanted to embarrass NASCAR. I think, but just he wouldn't just wreck a. I think he was the. I think Allgaier was the points leader. Is the points leader was something. He's not just gonna wreck a points leader because he raced him wrong. Larson, I think Larson has matured since him and Bubba Wallace, and it really wasn't Larson's fault. And Larson, he gets tight, as this is very common in NASCAR. You're running the bottom, somebody's tight on you on the top. You're gonna get tight and slide up the racetrack. And it was about what happened with Kyle Busch and Ron Hornaday way back. And Kyle Busch had that fit and put Ron Hornaday in the wall at Texas, I think. But that ruined his championship. But you know, just Larson didn't mean to, but he did put Bubba in the wall. Bubba swoops down and wrecks Larson. It was a hard hit for Larson. And then you have the Austin Cindric and Ty Dillon incident at Coda earlier this year, where it looked like Cindric just dumped Ty Dillon, plain and simple, dumped him. Um, but yeah, I think Austin Hill should be suspended. Kyle Larson and Justin Allgaier, I didn't really see what happened with them two after the race. It was probably just a communication like, hey, I got loose, ran into you, wall. And Allgaier is very mature. He's very mature, very seasoned Xfinity Series driver. But on to the Cup Series. Kyle Larson, obviously the favorite for Indianapolis. He won it last year. I don't know about this year. Seeing how he kind of fell off after the double attempt. It I think the double just is because I remember Eric Estep put it this way, just Kyle Larson did not have like short term memory. He'd finish bad one race out of the top 10 one race and he'd win and dominate the next one. But after Indy, it's like he just fell off a little bit. I think he's starting to come back, but I don't know how he's going to do at Indy. Last year's double attempt, he didn't crash at Indy, and he didn't. I don't think he crashed at Charlotte, but the rain, the rain impacted Indy, and it almost did this year, or it did. It pushed the time back, but Larson got the race in it. He crashed. Kind of a rookie mistake, honestly. The way he gets down into the corner and that back one of those back tires, they go under the line and the rear end just kicks out. Just I know it's only his second year running the Indy 500. He's technically not a rookie anymore, but he's still very new to the IndyCar thing. Um, The Ty Dillon versus Ty Dillon. That keeps making me mess up. Ty Dillon versus Ty Gibbs. I'm gonna go with the underdog here. Ty Dillon. Just gonna plain and simple. No explaining. He beat out Denny Hamlin because obviously huge wreck. I think he had Brad Keselowski. He had some other big name driver next race. They crash out. He goes Chicago street course. Brad gets taken out. Um, Sonoma. He moves Bowman out of the way to race his way in, technically. If that's how you want to put it, like the chase days. But I just I think he's on a hot streak right now, and hopefully Colleague can give him a good enough car to go out there and beat Ty Gibbs. So, in that one-off race that Ty Dillon ran last year at Indianapolis um for how Eric Estep put it, pop pop. In the 33 car, he actually finished better than Ty Gibbs, but Ty Gibbs is also a lot better this year. Um, so um, so I'm gonna take Ty Dillon in that matchup. I think Byron starting sixth. I don't know the rest of the starting order. Um, but I know Byron is starting sixth, and Byron is getting to be. If Kyle Larson keeps being on the low that he's on, William Byron's going to be the top Hendrick driver at the end of this year if Larson keeps doing like he's doing. Even though William, I think he DNF'd twice in a row. One at Atlanta. I was at Atlanta. That was a heartbreak. And it decided right then and there, well, if he crashed out, are there any other Hendrick drivers left? Larson crashed out. There was Bowman and there was uh, Elliott. So I went for Elliott, hometown kid, you know. Um, so I go for Elliott. He wins the race. Big party, emotional. Um, but Elliott has started to wake up. He's started to wake up. Basically, he's really just the beginning of the season. It was like, is this going to be another down Chase Elliott year? We get to Texas that he won last year, and we have Joey Logano win it. You know, um, if Joey Logano hadn't won that race, I don't think he's making the playoffs this year. I genuinely don't think he is. He has one win on the season. He manipulated the playoffs last year. Pretty sure he did in 22. Just, he doesn't fight for championships. It's just, I'm going to win one race and I'm going to not win any other race and I'm going to just be consistent when I need to be. So Shane Van Gisbergen, I mean, really, I think the name Shane Van Gisbergen has died down. Yeah, I don't know why. 3 wins. He's tied with 4 or 5 other, I think, Cup Series regulars. He's his first season in the Cup Series, and he's won 3 races. You know, um, Mexico City, Chicago, and Sonoma. Now, we didn't really expect Sonoma. We were like, oh, well, he hasn't raced here, this is like known NASCAR track. No, he just, he, he, he didn't dominate as much as he did at Mexico City or Chicago, because Chicago, that first race at Chicago, it was his first race in NASCAR. It was everybody's first race at the street course, unless they raced on Saturday. But I just I just don't know why the talk has died down about Shane Van Gisbergen. There's really I don't know why. It just baffles me that how we're gonna talk about him when there's road course and just forget about it. Because I think is it Watkins Glen that's next? I can't remember what track. I don't really pay attention that much to the schedule, but you know, I could guarantee you that when Watkins Glen comes up on the schedule, we're gonna be talking Shane Van Gisbergen, gonna be up here, you know, the road course ringer, and literally what he is. He is a road course ringer. But um, just talking about random stuff. In season tournament, talked about that. Um, like I said, Kyle Larson's the favorite for Indy, which I think there needs to be a new favorite. Kyle Larson is starting to become the favorite almost every week, and he's not performing. Um, Byron, as I said, qualified sixth, best by far out of all the Hendrick company. I haven't seen the rest of the qualifying order. Um, so I don't know. I thought about streaming me racing at Chicagoland, but I'm I'm kind of just goofing off at this point. Um, I remember I submitted my bracket day before Atlanta, the Cup race, and I left Atlanta, and half the bracket, more than half the bracket, is gone. You know, I had William winning the thing, which the way his Chicago race went and some other races, that was not going to happen. But can't help that the largest crash of the season happened at a shorter and smaller super speedway. But I don't know. It's just I don't know. Um, this podcast is what I'm going to be calling it, a NASCAR fan's perspective. I'm gonna try and make it a weekly thing on YouTube. Um, either make it a weekly thing on YouTube or you know just strictly do it. I have the Spotify podcast creators app kind of thingy. So I might, put a podcast on there. You know, maybe I can get more engagement than what I get here on YouTube. Um, but yeah, just talking about NASCAR, I guess. You know, and there's other things like the new NASCAR game. Um, people are people are getting mad because the frame rate's terrible. Well, that's probably also console footage too. Um, if you think about it, they said that they said the PC version is not going to come out on what they say October 14th. Is that the release date? September 4th? I can't remember. It's some deep fall date, which I'm fine with because literally almost every NASCAR game, all the Heat series would come out in the fall. Near the championship round. And I think that's because that just gives, there's all this hype leading up during the season, and then you're going to be playing the game in the off season. Going to be more sales, because on the weekends people are not watching the race; they're probably going to be playing the game. And I personally don't have a PC, so it doesn't bother me that it's not coming out on PC. But a bunch of PC players, like the iRacing players, and all the Papyrus NASCAR games, but it's mostly the iRacing players. They're like, man, what the heck, iRacing? iRacing is a PC platform, and we can't get a NASCAR game that is licensed by NASCAR on PC at the same time as console and everything else. And I think the reason for that is might be the graphics. They're trying to tune the graphics up, to fit however the graphics package, which I have I'm NASCAR Heat 5 on a PS4. I don't know what the graphics are on this thing. It's a Roku TV. I don't know. It's not this huge setup. I'm thinking about getting a PC, but really, the main reason I wanted a PC was to actually race. I would as a hobby and actually have better equipment than this a Thrustmaster. You know, I was talking to my father, and we were like, I mean, do we want to get a PlayStation wheels and pedals that has a clutch instead of paddle shifters? Is what this has. You know, do we want to get a clutch? Because the Thrustmaster, it only has the gas and the brake, and let me tell you, it is not high quality at all. The steering wheel only goes, I think it only goes 90 in each direction, or a little over 90 degrees in each direction. So not very good. It's good for NASCAR racing, but still, because the way this is, you barely turn it, and you're making the corner at Talladega. And some sim racers, I'm right here. Some sim racers right here. They're the force feedback. They're bouncing around, moving the wheel like this. You know, and so I want a wheel that'll turn 360 each way and has a clutch. But I know, pretty sure, with PCs you can plug that thing in and it'll work. You just got to figure out the buttons. Um, you got to keybind and stuff like that, which I'm not a programmer at all. Um, I don't even know. I want to get a PC, and I don't even know how the PC works, you know, because it is very known that it is cheaper to buy a PC than to just buy a stock one. You could get more RAM, you could get, better graphics. My friend just recently got a water cooling PC, and I'm like, water cooling, isn't that going to ruin the stuff? So you have to line bust. I'm not gonna take a I'm not taking a risk like that on something that could take thousands of dollars and just run a water system through it. That I'm just not cool with that. Um, so yeah, kind of my take. The new NASCAR, everybody's. I know I'm just getting off topic here. Um, the new NASCAR game, everybody's like, man, the frame rate and all that stuff is terrible, and we've had no hype. Well, if you think about it, NASCAR 21 Ignition, the worst NASCAR game ever, it had so much hype around it. I swear they put more graphics and actually took more time into the hype videos than they did the actual game. Um and I would say they could fix the bugs, but after it first launched, I remember I'm you know, it's 2022, I think, at this point when they come out with 21 Ignition. Next gen's already racing. What's the point? I thought about getting it for PS4, and I watched one video of YouTuber I used to watch back then, NASCAR YouTuber I used to watch back then, play it, And I said, no, I'm not getting that. Um, so I think I'm almost positive that this game is going to be better. NASCAR 25 is going to be definitely better than NASCAR 21 Ignition because that is a very low bar to set. Um, like just racing on NASCAR Heat 5, um, there's still some things like I want there to be, in the paint booth, I want there to be more sponsors, just sponsors that are in the sport, aren't in the sport, every sponsor for every driver. And this is what really the PC part comes in. You know, if you're gonna have a huge selection menu of like sponsors and stuff, it's gonna take a long time just holding. See if you got it. And there's dust on this thing. If you have PS4 controller, the DualShock 4, it's gonna take a long time to just sit here and hold this and just drag it and just find sounds like this. You're just sitting here like where's Raptor? Where's Exalta? You know? And something I also like with the PCs, you can mod, but I just want paint schemes. So basically, what a lot of people did with Heat 5, they'd make mods, they'd download them, and they'd just be running like 2000 schemes, 90 schemes, legacy schemes. I remember there was a next gen mod that Michael Marooch tried out before they even had the next gen update. Nobody thought that NASCAR Heat 5 would have a next gen update, but they did. And, you know, I just waited so long to get that update that I just missed out. So the PlayStation Store does not have NASCAR Heat 5 on it anymore. So I can't go on there and buy the next gen update. I because apparently NASCAR Heat 5, 4, and on just does not exist. I remember just 1 year ago, I was on my PS4. I had NASCAR Heat 3, 4, and 5 because 3 was only like $2 on the PlayStation Store. I had 4 and 5 on disc version, and I had two PS4s, and I moved one to another location, so I was using one Heat 5 disc for both PS4s, and somehow it didn't mess anything up. And I made a stupid decision of buying the next gen update when I didn't have the disc. So that actually just messed up Heat 5. It just corrupted the disc or something. But it runs fine on this PS4, but that other PS4 it just does not it just didn't want to run. I have a PS5 now and I loaded the Heat 5 in there and it just didn't work again. I can only run Heat 5 on this PlayStation 4, and when I load it into the PlayStation 5, it just does not want to work. I can play Heat 4 on the PlayStation 5 easy. I don't know what it is. I swear I think it's something about that disc. Um but I think that this PlayStation had just used this disc so long that it was just used to all the scratches and stuff, whatever that was in it. But Heat 4 works at the with my PS5. So I just play NASCAR Heat 4 on the PS5, Heat 5 on the PS4. Um, but I'm excited for NASCAR 25. Um, I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be the best NASCAR game since people want to say NASCAR 15. Um, and NASCAR 15's crash physics were terrible. I don't remember, but I remember watching Michael Maroots play NASCAR the game 2011. Isn't that what it's called? NASCAR the game 2011, and just you were on somebody's back bumper drafting them, and it just take your whole front bumper off. It just scratch it all off. And that to me, it was a nod at realism, and the way it looked cool, but you know, you can't just your the system's got to know when you're bump drafting, when you just went head on into a wall. I remember in the Q&A for the iRacing Q&A, they said that they will have similar crash physics for iRacing. It was either similar crash physics, similar damage physics, whatever. The crash physics in iRacing are better than a lot. Um, their damage physics are amazing. Um, Something I don't want though, I don't want to be constantly going down the pits just to only have a percentage of the damage done, another percentage, another percentage, another percentage. Because NASCAR Heat 5, I think the max amount of damage you could get was 30 seconds. So let's say I hit the wall head on a couple times. My engine, I'm just limping around the track. I get on pit road, it's automatic. Pull in 30 seconds later, I'm out of there, brand new car. That is very unrealistic. Um, but you also gotta have an arcade feeling to it because um, iRacing is very realistic, and everybody, not everybody, but most of the people that play iRacing take it seriously to try and have a career and try and make money, while some people are just idiots and just pull a Clint Boyer and just dive bomb the corner. But you know, it doesn't have to be that realistic. Because I remember iRacing saying there's going to be something uh, similar to the Heat games with the casual. I think it's casual, normal, hard, and expert. Those are the driving level, and then there's custom. But um, iRacing said that there's just a whole bunch. So in the custom, you know, NASCAR Heat 5, they have AI settings. Do you want the field expanded or tight, pack? Do you want it, you know, do you want the AIs at 80? So, you literally can start dead last at Talladega and just rocket your way to the front, go in half throttle. Or you can put it at 105, I think it is, and just literally feel like you're racing in the Cup Series. You know, it's I usually have my settings on about 95. That's really kind of the sweet spot. I can still go up and lead races, but I'm still the block instead of just, like when you're on 90, blowing through the field and just take off. I actually have to raise it for road courses because the AI at road courses is just terrible. But um um I don't even know what time the race starts today at Indy. Um I'm gonna want to be watching the race. Um yeah. Hopefully William Byron can win it. Um I'm not sponsored by anybody, no commercials, anything. But this has been the NASCAR fans perspective, or a NASCAR fans perspective. I just randomly came up with a name, but yeah, just gonna be sitting around just about every weekend, maybe random times during the week, just talking about NASCAR. Hopefully, every episode's around 30 minutes. That's what I was gunning for here. First annual episode. Um, see y'all in the next one.